Hey guys, it's me, Dax Moy from daxmoy.com, and I'm here today to kind of fill you in with a couple of little experiments that I've been running and I'm still running at the moment. And really this experiment is really called How I Got Fat. Okay, so here's how it works out. I've spent the last 10 to 12 weeks, I think we're pushing 12 weeks now actually, when you take into account the Christmas period. I'm speaking to you today on January the 2nd, by the way, for those who kind of jump in a little bit later. I spent the last 12 weeks essentially dropping off of my elimination diet. Not completely. I guess here's the thing, the best way I could describe it is I went back to eating a little bit more normal. So I'm still eating fresh fruit and veg, still eating fresh meats. You know, kind of really only getting by on 2 meals a day as I normally do, occasionally a third meal, but that's about it. But what I did do is I started to drink some wine at weekends, occasionally having a bit more of the odd pastry and things, and I included things like bread that definitely aren't part of my normal life, but that found their way in on a, if not a day-by-day basis, probably I was having bread about 3 times a week. Okay, so why would I do that? Particularly, why would the author of the Elimination Diet, you know, kind of this is a program that's been downloaded over 250,000 times now in total. Why would somebody who knows what the good stuff is deliberately go in that direction? Well, there's a couple of things. First off, I wanted to get a feel for what normal nutrition felt like, you know, normal nutrition felt like for a lot of people. I don't mean good nutrition, but I don't mean, you know, goddamn awful nutrition, right? Taking in the crappiest, most horrible foods you possibly can with deliberate intent to getting fat. That was never the aim. I just wanted to know what it would be like if I spent, you know, kind of 10 to 12 weeks just eating what you're, you know, probably even a little bit better than the average person eats, but with a few, you know, cheats and treats here and there. So the odd bit of wine, the odd bit of chocolate here and there, the odd candy and so on and so forth, the odd pastry, a bit of bread. Nothing outrageous, and certainly I wasn't guzzling on them, and certainly, you know, I wasn't making a pig of myself with these things. I wanted to see what would happen. I really, really wanted to see what happened. One of the biggest accusations often, one of the biggest fingers often pointed at personal trainers like myself, is that we don't really understand what it's like to have to deal with the various struggles that most of our clients go through. And whilst I feel that I genuinely do have a good feeling for that, I've dealt with thousands and thousands of people across the course of my career, I wanted to kind of feel what did it actually feel like to go through life a little bit more carrying out the normal eating pattern. So that's exactly what I did. Now, just for clarity, I didn't deliberately set out to get fat. I didn't suddenly start, you know, I didn't change a whole bunch of variables. I didn't do what I know I'm not the first person to do this. I know some coaches have done this in the past where they deliberately set out to get fat. So they completely stopped training, you know, they almost doubled their calorie intake and they completely change everything about their lifestyle. I really didn't want to do that because I didn't want it to be, I didn't want to have any doubt in my mind about what caused the fat gain, if any, or what caused the negative change, if any. So I've continued to carry, you know, I've continued training really quite hard. On average, about 4 times a week. Sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less, but on average 4 times a week. So that's lifting heavy weights, high volume, high repetitions, high loads, everything. My training didn't really change. Okay, I didn't suddenly go from eating twice a day to eating, you know, bodybuilder style 6 to 8 meals a day. I didn't make that kind of change either. Right. All I did is I relaxed up, and particularly I relaxed up on a couple of the non-elimination diet foods. And I guess the other big crime for me is that I took on a lot more carbohydrate than I would normally take. Okay, and now a lot more carbohydrate in the form of starches. So most days I was finding either rice or potato or oatmeal in my day. And again, these weren't huge portions. I wasn't stuffing my face full of them deliberately to see how I could get fat. I wanted to try and keep most things kind of even. Okay, so what has happened? What's happened for me across the course of this 12 weeks? Well, one of the things that certainly happened is I found my energy has been a lot harder to get started in the morning. It's taken a lot longer to kickstart, and that I suffer more lulls in energy across the course of the day. Okay, so that was one of the things. Secondly, I noticed a lot of my old aches and pains. I've got lots of old injuries, you know, going all the way back to my military days and you know, big falls that I've had, and elbows, wrists and shoulders and ankles and knees and back. A lot more flare-ups, a lot more problems in those areas. So I've been feeling a lot more pain in my day-to-day life. I've also had a lot more mental fog. Now, you know, I'm still churning out, hopefully, what I believe to be really, really good material. I'm still writing and all the rest, but I find it hard to get going mentally. Okay, and one of the other things that I've noticed is generally in life I'm an extremely positive person. I notice, you know, I've noticed across the course of this 12 weeks that whilst I can get positive very quickly again, that negative thoughts keep creeping into my mind. That lots and lots of small things, you know, things that essentially are pissing me off that really shouldn't be, and they're sneaking in. Now, the only thing I can put this down to, the only changes have been my nutrition, nothing else. Okay, so I haven't been suddenly overwhelmed by 1,000 new things at work or in my private life or anywhere else. I haven't, you know, suddenly come down with some mega illness. All I've done is change my nutrition to what most people would call normal. And again, let me reiterate, I'm still eating, you know, clean and healthy meats and fish every single day. I'm still only eating twice a day. I'm still eating lots and lots of vegetables. All I'm doing though is adding in a few of the things that most people would call normal. Okay, so those are some of the results. One of the other results, so let's kind of time for a bit of proof here. I was sitting at around about 104 kilos, and I've gone to about 111 kilos. I was 111.2, I believe, right? So 111.2 kilos from 104. I sit around about the 104 mark most of the time. And that, again, this is without consuming tons and tons of extra calories or anything else. What I've also gotten is pretty chunky around the waist. I've never ever been the kind of person who has a full-on six-pack showing all the time, but I'm definitely not that guy right now. I'll show you in just a sec. And certainly around the love handles are thickening out. So let's kind of have a bit of a proof session here, right? So as you can see, right, I'm not deliberately sucking anything in or pushing it out. I'm not going to do the whole kind of pregnant before and after pictures for you, because what I'm going to be doing across the course of this next 30 days, so again, today being January the 2nd, all the way up to February the 1st, I'm going to actually show you what clean eating and decent training is going to do for me again, okay? But what you can see here, let's have a look at this. So I've really thickened out here, okay? This is really quite chunky for me. There's there's not much. I guess if I squeeze them down, you probably start to see a little bit of shape in the upper abdominals, but not a hell of a lot. Okay, but here's the horror story for me. Watch as I turn around. Okay, so what you'll see is a nice big thick chunky pad of insulin or carbohydrate driven fat on me. Okay, I've also got extremely soft around the edge of my pectorals. Now, most of the shapes that would normally be in my arms have disappeared. Okay, most of this, or actually all of this, is completely related to the choices that I made about nutrition. And this is only 12 weeks, guys. This isn't years and years and years of eating poorly. In fact, you know, all of 2011, I ate 100% elimination diet friendly. For 75% of 2012, I was eating about 80 to 90% ED friendly. So this has happened in just 12 weeks. Which, when you think about it, and you think about the lives that most people are living, you know, it's quite shocking. And again, when we bring this back to the really simple idea that I wasn't deliberately gorging on foods, I wasn't deliberately eating lots and lots of crap, I was just having a bit of bread a few times a week. I was eating more carbohydrate with my meals than I would normally take, and I was having some wine at weekends, most weekends for those 12 weeks. Okay, so like for example Friday and Saturday, definitely I would have some wine, right? I say some, I would drink a good bottle of wine, if not more, right? So I was definitely having some of the things that most people would call normal, but this is what normal has done to me. Okay, so look, here's my aim. Across the course of the next 30 days, I'm going to be showing you how I get back from this kind of normal, the public's version of normal living, to my version of normal, and hopefully there'll be some kind of learning outcomes for most of us in that. But you know, certainly from my perspective, it's been a real discovery. Not exactly shocking. I knew that I would get fatter across the course of those 12 weeks. That that wasn't without a doubt. I can actually put on weight over the course of a weekend if I eat a whole bunch of crappy foods, right? I knew this was going to happen, but you know, to the extent of 7 kilos, that's actually quite a big difference. And what I wasn't necessarily prepared for was quite the extent of this. Okay, particularly this stuff, the whole love handle elements that are around there. I wasn't necessarily as prepared for that either. But look, this is day one, and my aim is to every single day check in with you. Every single day I'm going to show you where I'm at for that day. And hopefully, you know, obviously maybe day 2 and day 3 and day 4 you might not see a hell of a lot of change. But by videoing this whole process, by taking you through it day by day, I want you to be able to see what's actually realistically possible. And again, just to reiterate here, I didn't stop training in preparation for this. I didn't deliberately let myself get out of shape. As you can see, I'm carrying quite a lot of muscle, right? So I haven't deliberately let myself get out of shape like some of these kind of before and after get fat and then get fit guys have done. I'm not knocking them, by the way. I'm just saying that's not what I've done in this instance. This whole thing is purely nutritional that's happened to me. So I want to be able to show you what 30 days of really good nutrition and training are going to do for me. You're not going to see me miraculously gain, you know, through muscle memory, and I'm going to rebound in muscular size or any of these things. And I'm certainly not going to starve myself for the next 30 days either. I'm just going to eat clean. Carry on my training, which is quite tough by most people's standards, and show you the result of that. Okay, so look, I hope that's you found that kind of somewhat interesting, and I hope you find the journey across the course of the next 30 days interesting, and I look forward to sharing some really great results for you. You take care.